move on to Ayesha with Smriti introducing.
Hi, everyone. My name is Smriti. This is my 14th time mentoring with Magic now. I was also a mentee when I was in middle school. This summer, I had the privilege of mentoring Ayesha, and I was really blown away with all that she has accomplished. So, Ayesha came in really wanting to do a project with astronomy and astrophysics. My background is in computer science, so we found a way to kind of combine those two fields and make a website. It was a pleasure working with her and seeing her grow, going from no web development experience at all to the wonderful website that she'll share with all of you today. And on top of that technical journey, I was really amazed by Ayesha's curiosity, diligence, and passion. So, Ayesha, I am so proud of you. I hope you keep asking questions, you keep learning and growing, and of course, you keep exploring more computer science. And I'm really excited for you to share. Please take it away.
Thanks. My name is Ayesha. I'm gonna be a senior at the fall at Midwood, and I live in New York. Next slide, please. So my mentor is Smriti. She's a software engineer at Google. She works in search, where she uses machine learning. Smriti grew up in the Bay Area of California, but now she lives in New York. She loves anything related to music and the arts, such as piano and dancing, and she even loves to bake. And I also want to put it out there that she's done competitive Bollywood dancing at her time in MIT. Next slide. So my project is called Astro for Kids. It's a gaming website designed to teach kids astronomy. Its goal is to make it educational and fun. I've noticed that a lot of kids don't really know that much about astronomy or astrophysics more so. So I think it's great to have them experience a bit of this awesome scientific field. So this project utilized both astrophysics knowledge and computer science skills. I learned HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and Bootstrap on Code Academy, and I stored all my code in GitHub, and I used Three.js to make simulations on exoplanets. As far as astrophysics research, I did more research on the environments of exoplanets, specifically on Kepler 22b, Kepler 452b, and 55 Cancri. In the future, I hope to expand on more games on my website since all I have so far is exoplanet simulations. I hope to evolve my overall code and test these games with my sisters. The images that you see to the right were what I drafted at the beginning of the program. The image at the bottom is kind of what my website looks like. When I show my demo, you could kind of see I kind of have a similar logo. And at the top is what is building a solar system. I hope to have that game in the future. Next slide. So I mentioned before that I learned HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap and JavaScript. I'm gonna talk more about that in my demo, but I did it for content, styling, and functionality. And then besides coding, I've done astrophysics research. Here is a screenshot of some of the information I have. You could see the images of what the exoplanets look like. And with this coding and astrophysics research, this is my Astro for Kids website. Next slide. So I used Three.js, which has 3D project libraries to make the 3D simulations of the exoplanet portion. Here is a screenshot of skybox images. I'll talk more about that in the demo. And then I also have a screenshot of the Three.js tutorial. And here is a screenshot of the Kepler 452b simulation as an example. Next slide. So here's my demo. So this is what my website looks like, but I'll go through the code that led me to this point from Code Academy. So this is an example of my HTML project. You could see the blog and you can also see the code. You see the HTML declaration, the head tag, the title tag, and the rest of the content. And this is what my blog ended up looking like. And then with this content, I needed to make it look pretty. So I used CSS, and you can kind of see the pretty blue and the formatting. And then on the style CSS sheet, you could see the different things that you can incorporate. I can change font family, I can change the font size. And then besides CSS for styling, I've also used Bootstrap. So with Bootstrap, I learned about containers and rows and columns, and I was able to even recreate this painting. Yeah. And then besides Bootstrap, I also learned JavaScript, which I needed for functionality. I learned about functions and variables, and I found it cool that I could convert my age to dog years. So I wanted to share that project. So this is what my website looked like after all that code, but you can see the logo that I was talking about earlier. You can see the title, and then I also have HR tags, which was used for design. You can see the subheadings, and then there's also a navigation bar. And when I clicked on About, that leads you to the About section for Astro for Kids. And as mentioned before, Astro for Kids is an educational gaming website. Well, yeah. And then now I'll show you the code of the actual website. On index.html, you can see the HTML declaration again. You even see the meta tags, which I used for Bootstrap, and links to style sheets for CSS and Bootstrap. And then you can also see the code for my navigation bar and for the title for Astro for Kids. And then at the bottom, you can see the code for the exoplanet portion. You can even see some of Bootstrap incorporated with the columns. So now I'll show you the simulations. So in the future, I want to add a star in the sky of the simulations so that when you click on it, it leads you to an article with more information on the planets. Right now, I only have visuals, and I followed the 3JS tutorial. You can see I have the camera, the renderer, the skybox, and I followed the codes. And you can also see HTML and CSS incorporated in that as well. So more on Skybox. So this is what the formatting of the Skybox images look like. It basically folds into a cube, and then with the camera, with the code in the camera, it basically zooms into the image. So that's what makes the simulation appear that way. And then I also show the code on JavaScript for the simulations. And here you can see the rotations, and you can see all the functions. And yeah, and that's all I have. So, after doing this program, I really enjoyed being mentored by Smriti. She was thoughtful and patient, and I wasn't really good at tech, so it was good to have her guide me. I also surprisingly found coding to be interesting. Smriti mentioned when she introduced me that I was expecting to do astronomy and astrophysics, but when I heard that I was gonna learn coding at the same time, initially I thought it was hmm? Oh, initially I thought coding was just gonna be okay, I'm just gonna type and it's gonna be boring, but I actually found it really interesting. And then I also liked that I did get my share of astronomy with gaining further in-depth knowledge on exoplanet environments. I learned the foundations of computer science, which will be useful in the future since I will be in STEM, and even in the astronomical field, you do need to know coding. So like the previous two mentees, I also had trouble debugging the code for the exoplanet simulations. Smriti and I even had to make a lot more meets just to focus on debugging. And then it took a longer time than expected to grasp some of the coding concepts, but I ended up understanding. Uh, so these are just some references to what I used. And yeah. Thank you. Do you guys have any questions?
Awesome work, Ayesha. This is awesome that you could combine both of your interests from computer science and astrophysics. So this is great to see. Yeah, I don't know if we have any questions from the audience that we can take.
I have a question. First of all, this is amazing work. Congratulations. And I have a request also. I think that one statement that you made about you thought coding would be not as interesting and was, maybe we can extract it and you blast it everywhere for other girls to see. That's just my personal bias about coding. So have you shown this to anyone yet? And what do they think? It's for kids, right? But I think I'd like to see it too. But yeah.
Yeah. So my little sister, she like actually helped me. She gave me some inspirations and she looked at my website, and so did some of my friends. And they thought it was cool, especially since a lot of people don't have that much knowledge of exoplanets and even scientists. So I think it's cool to be able to see some of it on my website.
Thank you. If nobody has any question, I have one quick question, another question. I guess nobody else does. So did you see the power of computer science for simulations? And you did some simulation here. And I don't know if you had that experience yet. I know you will see that. You can't do things by hand, not in the astronomy field, not when you have that much data set. And so computer science really helps there. And I don't know if you haven't experienced it yet, and if you can talk about it. Otherwise, I can guarantee you'll experience it soon.
I think I didn't have that much experience yet, but I think I will have more soon. But what I did have so far was really amazing, and I thought it was so interesting.
Thank you and congrats.